Hey everybody, welcome back. We are now in week 3 of SEC501, and I'm going to walk you through the expectations this week, kind of talk a little bit about the PowerPoint assignment you have at the end of the week, and kind of take it from there. Hopefully you're getting more comfortable as the time goes on. You've had 2 full weeks in here. Most of you, this is your first time at Grand Canyon, and for the majority of you, I believe it's probably your first time in a full-blown online class like this. So I'm trying to make this as interactive and personal as possible. And that's why I like doing these videos, to kind of kick off the week and help you guys get started. Again, you're going to find this video here in the individual forum as well as in the announcement forum. Okay, so you're welcome to find it at both locations, and we'll just kind of take it from there. So our topic this week is the greater educational community. I know it sounds like a huge topic here, but let's kind of break it down. Our objectives, we're going to describe the primary roles of local, state, and federal agencies in public and secondary education. And fortunately or unfortunately, these roles are becoming bigger and bigger on a daily basis as education becomes more and more political. Number 2, you're going to identify major stakeholders in the local community and describe their primary roles. So let's talk for a second. When we talk about stakeholders, who are we talking about? I think of stakeholders anyone who cares about what happens in your classroom. And immediately you can think about the student, the parents. So of course, okay, that's great. Who else? Students, parents, administration. You've got the school board. You have the local people within the community itself. Maybe I don't have a student in the particular school that I live within the boundaries. I still care what happens in that school for a whole variety of reasons there. You've also got local businesses who are stakeholders. Okay, they want to make sure that the best, I guess, just quality of graduate comes out of the school. You also have local universities. We're a huge stakeholder in what happens within our local high schools. Okay, Grand Canyon and every university probably in America partners with local high schools to help that transition from one place to the next. Okay, we're very concerned about the quality of the student who's graduating from high school and moving on to our campus. Okay, so you have a whole variety of different stakeholders, and each of us has a different reason for caring about what happens within school. So when we're talking about stakeholders, that's who we're talking about. Okay, now the roles of your local or state or federal agencies will vary. Obviously, we're all part of the same federal agencies out there, but every state is different, and then the power that the state gives the individual school districts is very different. We could all sit around a table and talk about what your local district in the state of New York is able to do versus what my local district here in Arizona is able to do. And they're completely different because of the power that the state gives that local district. How your state handles the federal mandates is very different. Okay, Arizona, for example, I'm sure we mentioned it. We put in Common Core. We were one of the first ones to kind of adopt it. We put in Common Core, and then last spring we pulled it out. Now Arizona's kind of scrambling to create their own because there's still a federal requirement that you must have a set of standards in place. They pushed Common Core and said this is the best option for you, which, you know, to get political here, I still believe it is. We can have a discussion about Common Core all day, but I think Common Core is fabulous, and it ticks every one of the points of what we're trying to do as educators here. The people who have fear of Common Core, those don't really understand it. They're the typical people who are afraid of standardized testing. Standardized testing's been around since I'm 47 years old. I took standardized tests in kindergarten. That's not new. I think the emphasis that is being placed on standardized tests is different. And we can debate on whether that's good or bad. I kind of do lean towards the emphasis being a bad thing and teachers being judged upon those standardized tests to a point is a bad thing. They do hold me accountable as a teacher to know that I'm going to be judged based on how well my kids do. And the competitive side of me says, hey, bring it on, let's go. You know, I'll put my kids up against your kids' scores any day. But there are limits there, but that's an entirely different topic, and I don't even want to get started on that right now. But anyway, so what we're trying to do is those of you who are in the classroom, please jump in this week and share what's happening with your classes, what's happening with your school, what's happening with your district. We want your experience. And those who are not in the classroom right now, which we've talked about, you have a bachelor's degree and you're going on to get your master's degree, which will lead to teacher licensure. those of you really want to hear what the experiences are of those people who are in the classroom right now. So please share. That's what kind of makes this class cool, is because there's a mixture of people in this class right now. So anyway, let's kind of jump on down here. We talked about electronic resource, where to find those things under the resources tab there. And what I used to do when I was taking these classes, because my whole entire doctorate program was online, what I would do is I would go to all the electronic, what happened there? Oh, I got signed out of another thing that I was in. Let me jump back over here. My fault. Bear with me here, folks. There we go. I don't ever re-record these things, so you take the glitches as they come. So what was I talking? Oh, but the electronic resources. Go and just download them all right now, your very first week of class. Just get in the habit of doing that. Create one folder. Inside that folder, do your 1 through 8 weeks or 7 weeks, depending on how long your class is. And then put all your resources in there. Take all the templates I give you up front, download those, put them into each of those folders as well. It's just a great way to have it organized. Then, when you're 5 classes into it, and you have a question, or you have, hey, I read an article back in class number 2 that can help me here, you have that resource, and you don't have to go back and try and find it any other way. So that's what I do, just kind of a little housekeeping tip here. So let's jump in. Let's talk about the discussion questions first, and then we'll talk about the actual essay itself. So DQ1 says, why is it important to communicate effectively with others? How will effective communication help you in your academic career? Provide examples. Okay, I throw in a couple of interesting little things that I learned about effective communication, and mainly communicating online. Now, online could be you sending could be you sending an email to a teacher next door to you. Okay, so any kind of online communication, that's what I'm referring to. Anything other than the verbal face-to-face communication, which is the easiest for us to do, the least diluted when it comes time to interpreting. So I'll share a couple cool things with you that I found, and a really good video I think you're gonna enjoy too. DQ2 says, discuss the effect of local, state, and federal agencies have had on your college readiness. Does this path differ for students entering college directly from high school? So think about your situation. Okay, you all have a bachelor's degree. Did you go straight from high school into college? Did you take a break before you went in and completed your bachelor's degree? Now that you all have a bachelor's, you come back for a master's degree. How long was that gap? Okay, so think about it from 2 different areas there. How, if at all, did your local, state, or federal agencies help you get ready for college? So, for example, back when I first started teaching in Arizona and the first state standards ever came, when I first started teaching, there were no standards. I had a textbook. That was my standard. And the whole idea of standards and everything along those lines came in probably my 3rd year. And Arizona created their standardized test was called AIMS, Arizona's Instrument for Measuring Standards. And it was a big, ugly test. It was used as an exit test for high school graduates. If you didn't pass the AIMS test, you don't graduate. Okay, and that was pretty hardcore, but at the time I really thought it was needed because we had way too many students graduating who were not proficient in the basic necessities of life. So anyway, if I was a high school student during that time period, my state government helped prepare me for college by requiring me to pass this AIMS test. Okay, that's kind of what I'm talking about. And then last week, you guys talked about the standards in your particular state. You can tie that into this discussion question as well, is how did those particular standards that kids are working with today, that maybe you had to work with, maybe you didn't have any to work with, like when I was in high school, how did they prepare you or not prepare you? Okay, so that's kind of the approach I would take with this one. All right, let's jump back up here, and let's take a look at the assignment for this week. So for this week, you've got a PowerPoint. In weeks 3 and week 5, they're both PowerPoints, and they're basically going to have the same requirements. Now, I have set up a template for you right there. Okay, you're welcome to use my template if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. I really don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Many of you are super comfortable with PowerPoint. Some of you are completely uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, grab mine. If you want to do your own, I don't care. There are requirements, however, that I expect to see in there, and this is kind of what the template is for. So the first and the biggest thing is, let's jump back over here. This assignment says 12 to 15 slides, okay? This is where the confusion comes in, and I can tell immediately those students who watch the video versus those who don't. It's very, very clear, okay? These 12 to 15 slides are content slides. Your title slide and your reference slide do not count as content. So at a minimum, I should see 14 slides within your presentation. 12 slides of content plus your title slide, I'm spacing off here, plus your title slide and then your reference slide. Okay, let's just make that super clear. For each one of your content slides, it says down here you need to add speaker notes with a minimum of 100 words for each slide. Did that turn to red? It should have there. It didn't turn red. Oh well. 100 words for each slide. Okay. And kind of just take the things up here, the template directions, read over those, just make sure you understand those, what we're looking for, what we're not looking for in here. I'd like to see a graphic of some kind on each one of them and a title. Okay. That's it. It's really pretty basic. For those of you who've never done speaker notes before, this is essentially, if you're giving this presentation up in front of a group of people at school or anywhere, this is essentially what you would say. This is in paragraph form, in conversation form. Here is where you're going to put your in-text citation. You don't put your in-text citations up here in the slide itself. Okay, then you come back here to your reference slide. That's where you put the citation, or all your references there. Okay. So again, you're going to use the same assignment or the same template or any template you want, but the same requirements for your week 5 assignment as well, which is PowerPoint. Now, week 5, I believe it says 10 to 12 slides. But just remember, your title slide and your reference slide do not count when you're talking about the slide count. Okay, let me jump back here and check and see if there's anything else I have any questions about that I'll help you guys with. Give me 1 second. Okay, that looked like everything there, but anyway, quick reminders, post on 3 different days. Your minimum word count's 100 words for your participation post, 150 for your DQ, stay on topic, proper grammar, punctuation, spelling, capitalization. Don't ever let me see uncapitalized I's. We've talked about before, I'm sure. And I think that's it. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Don't let your frustrations fester. Get in touch with me. Let me help, okay? Let me help. But hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you guys on the forums this week. Thanks.